What's up, sports fans? What's up, world? You are now tuned into the world's greatest MC Ron and his co-host.
Your guy, Zen, on Ken.
And we are keeping it 10 toes down. We are the sports podcast that always keeps it real about sports talk. I'm sorry that we were gone for a week. We were supposed to do this like weekly, but you know, things happen. I had to make it an impromptu trip somewhere to get my car fixed. But you know, we're here, we're live, we're back. We are recording this podcast on, July 31st, 2025. Today makes the 4-year anniversary to the day of this podcast, because we started recording this podcast on July 31st, 2021. And it is, once again, July 31st, 2025. It is the official 4-year anniversary of this podcast. So
you know what that just dawned on me?
What?
Since the inception of this podcast, Ohio State has not beaten Michigan. Go blue, baby.
So this is what you took from not celebrating, you know, us having this podcast for this long. It is, and now on a completely different platform than we were when we started.
Hey, two things can be present at the same time.
That is very true. So basically, I guess it is this podcast's fault, Ohio State fans, why y'all have not beaten Michigan.
we ain't gonna never stop. I'll let you guys for the next 50 years.
It's just gonna be year after year of just nonstop misery. It's okay. It is okay. But we talking about football, and football season is here, people. I know what you all saying. What do you mean by that, AMC Ron? Because today at 8:00 p.m. we are going to have the Hall of Fame game. Now I know what you all are going to say. It's just preseason, MC Ron. Why are you getting so excited for a preseason game when you have not watched football since February? All right. And I don't watch spring football. I don't watch the UFL. I don't watch that garbage. I'm talking about real NFL football and college football, all right? Now, I know some of you are going to say, if you're a real football fan and you're watching the UFL too, well, you can all just don't want to be rude. I don't want to be rude.
Y'all football fiends at that point.
Yeah.
Y'all watch anything.
Say, change it in my face, man. I need it. No, but but I am so happy the NFL is back, and right around the corner we're going to have college football, because on the 30th of August, my Penn State Nittany Lions starting up the season, baby. Let's go. But yes, the Hall of Fame game is tonight, and in that vein, we are going to be continuing with our division by division preview for this season. Now, since we missed last week, instead of doing one division, we're gonna do two, man. We're gonna finish up the NFC with the NFC West and the NFC North. Which one we gonna do first? Let's go ahead and start out with, which one do you want to start out with first, KJ? We can talk about either or. It does not matter.
Let's go ahead and talk about the North.
Oh yeah, we're talking about. Let's go ahead, go up north to the Midwest. I think that's where the most of the teams are. Yeah, they are in the Midwest.
That's where all the teams are.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. This honestly, the NFC North is actually one of the only divisions one of the few divisions that actually kind of makes sense. Well, no, I think all of them kind of make sense.
Nah, this is the only one that makes sense where all four teams, I think, because there are like other divisions like the NFC South. How you got like Atlanta, Carolina, and Louisiana right there. But you would think like Florida, a Florida team would be in there, but no.
You mean you talking about? Oh no, I think you're talking about the AFC.
It is a Florida team in there.
No, you're talking about the AFC South. Why is there the Indiana Colts in the AFC South? That's not the South.
That's not the South at all.
Like Jacksonville makes sense. Houston, Texas, okay, let you have it. Makes sense. Tennessee, okay, that's Tennessee still considered the South.
Yeah,
makes sense.
That's like the border of the South.
Yeah, but Indiana, come on, bro. But we're going to be talking about the AFC next week. let's let's focus on the NFC North, a division where all of the geographically makes sense. Now, college football is a whole different subject, but anyway, KJ, I'll let you go ahead and start talking about these teams.
Um, this is a very interesting division because as we saw last year, like you had a team that won like what 15 games, another team won like 14. I think it came down to the Vikings and the Lions.
Yep, on that last game of the season.
Last game of the season. Yeah, how the NFL did the scheduling last year was kind of cool towards the end of the season.
Most
Um,
definitely.
but yeah, I just and then like maybe the Packers will go 11 wins. We could start with the Packers, right? So the Packers last year had a grand total of 11 and was 11-6, which is solid playoff team and everything like that. But this year I think Jordan Love got hurt a little bit too last year, but these dudes have a plethora. Let me tell you how much they believe in Jordan Love. I don't really believe in Jordan Love like that. I think he's like a above average quarterback, but the amount of wide receivers that they have in this locker room now, because now over the draft they finally drafted a first round receiver since 2002
Whew.
by the name of Javon Walker. It's crazy. I was looking at their drafts too. The Packers only draft cornerbacks, safeties, and defensive tackles in the first round. That's all they take. um, well, that kind of makes sense too because they've had a lot of good DBs come through there. But yeah, dude, they brought in. I mean, they just drafted Matthew Golden. They brought in McCole Hardman. They already had Christian. They had Reed. They had who else they got on that team? Another receiver. They probably got like two more receivers that can be named from that wide receiver room. So it is looking like a whole bunch of receivers. That means pass catching. And now their receivers were a little injured last year too, so maybe they want a little bit more depth as well. Um,
Yeah.
but they maybe they all in on the receivers because they only got Josh Jacobs in the back. Josh Jacobs, he can
Hey,
rush for
he's a
100
solid running
yards,
back
but
though.
I mean, I'm saying he'll rush for 100 yards, but it might be on 30 carries. You know what I'm
He come on,
saying?
he's a little bit better than that. Come on, at least give
Oh,
him
oh,
25.
uh, 12 settle on 28. No, but I think the Packers will be competitive, but I don't really think that they are a scary team next year. The Lions definitely are taking a step back. I understand that they how many wins did they have last year? They went 15-1, 15-2.
You're talking about the lines?
Yeah, they went 15-2 last year.
Yeah.
That's pretty freaking great. Their offense, I believe, was second behind my Ravens, if I'm also not mistaken. Now their defense was a little iffy, but they had some injuries out there, especially to Aiden Hutchinson, and we saw how that pass rush looks once he was gone. Like they were looking for any help they could get.
Mhm.
Zadarius Smith, like it didn't matter. Um, and I think they still they kept their offensive pieces, but the thing that they lost was they lost five they lost five coordinators on that team. Their offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and then like three other coordinators. So that team is going to be looking very, 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 very different. They also subsequently, traded out Reynolds for Tim Patrick. I don't know if y'all saw Reynolds in that playoff game, but he caught the ball, put it on the ground, and started humping it, and then they lost. So yeah, it was about time for him to go. They replaced him with Tim Patrick, but I think they'll be a pretty solid team. I just want to know how different they're going to be looking um, with those coordinators. But these last two teams, they definitely have my attention. Um, the Vikings, JJ to JJ, was going to
I
be
know
my
you are
favorite
looking
slogan.
forward to that one.
I was, but now JJ gonna have to miss some time. Jetta's gonna have to miss some time because he got a hamstring injury. I'm like, now I'm looking at him kind of medically a little bit. Not saying he's injury prone, but since he did have that leg injury last year, and now he has a hamstring injury, I'm like, that doesn't bode well for the long run. You might need to change up how you rehab it, my boy.
Thought about JJ.
Yeah.
McCarthy.
Nah, Jettis. Oh no, yeah, McCarthy had a meniscus injury too, but he's had a whole entire year to rehab, train, sit, learn. He's about to have a whole off season to apply the knowledge that he learned these last 12, 13 months. And from what I saw at Michigan, like, he is not Cam Newton. Foreshadowing, but y'all see why. He is not Cam Newton, but he is good, he's efficient, he's talented, and he gets better. So whatever version we see of JJ this year, that would be the worst version we ever see of him, I personally believe. But yeah, I think the Vikings are kind of interesting, especially on not especially on defense, but their defense is not looking too terrible either. They just got they picked up Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave in the offseason. So that's pretty good in the front, if you ask me. But the most interesting team out there in the North is the Bears.
The Bears.
Bears. And why are they interesting? They're interesting, bro, because last year was Caleb Williams' first year, right?
Yep.
I never grade a rookie too terribly unless he just bombs it. Unless you are Will Levis, I'm not, I ain't too tough on you. You feel me? And he first off started a little rocky, but he did a whole lot better that second half of the season. We thought that offense was going to be great. But it just looked good on paper. That's all it was. That's all it turned out to be. So now they're I guess you would say tripling down on Caleb Williams, because not only did they bring all of that offensive talent to the forefront last year with the subtraction of Keenan Allen, but they replaced him with Luther Burden. Then they already have a tight end that they like, but they went and got a tight end that they really like in Colston Loveland, another Michigan man. Go Blue. This podcast is just filled with Michigan things, but I love it. To already go with DJ Moore and who else, Rome Odunze, and who else they got on offense? Like they have so many like offensive weapons. It makes no sense. Like they need to be good. If they are only good on paper this year, they gotta have to blow it up. But I don't think so, because not only do y'all have weapons, but again they brought in Jonah Jackson, Joe Tooney, and Drew Dahman. So you have a solid line 1 to 5. Then you draft Shamar Stewart and pick up Grady Jarrett, and then go get Ben Johnson for your head coach. Took him from the Lions. I expect high things for the Bears this year. I ain't saying 14 wins. 11? Over or under 10.5. That's where I'm at.
I can see it. Well, the way I see everything playing out, because you so eloquently explained everything with the Packers finally drafting a wide receiver and got, like I said, in over 2 decades. But let me tell you how I have this whole division working out, and I'm going to explain why. All right, I'm going to start out from the bottom to the top. The bottom, I have the Vikings at 8 and 9. In third place, I have the Bears at 10 and 7. Second, I have the Lions at 11 and 6. And yes, Packer fans, go Pack go. I have you all winning the division at 12 and 5. Now the Packers
say the Vikings one more time for me.
The Vikings 8 and 9. I've got them at last place. All right,
okay.
I'm going to tell you why. All right, it's not that I don't believe in JJ McCarthy and Jettis and all that what they're doing. It's just that it's a lot. honestly, I feel last year was a fluke for them, and I feel like they got lucky that one, the Bears were very, I say discombobulated with a rookie quarterback, and then the Packers with Jordan Love being hurt early as well. But I still think the Packers are still trying to a little bit finding themselves and stuff like that, still working on themselves. So I just feel like that was how when Case Keenum came in with the Vikings in 2017, 2018, and the Vikings went 13-3, won the division, got to the NFC Championship game, and then the subsequent year they kind of fell off a little bit. I'm trying to remember their actual record from that 2018 season after they had that, but I'll look it up, or KJ, you can go ahead and look it up. But I think that's what's going to happen this year. But I don't think the Vikings are going to be a bad team. All right, I think it's going to be yes, they will have a worse record, and I got them finished last place in 8-9. However, I think this year you'll see a lot of promise in JJ McCarthy. That's what I think. But JJ McCarthy is going to have his growing pains. All right, this is basically, even though he's going into his second year, this is his rookie season. So if anything with a rookie, not all rookies are going to be, your Jaden Daniels of the world, your Andrew Lucks of the world, your RG3s of the world. Andrew Luck had a great rookie season. You're not going to. Matt Ryan, he had a really good rookie season. Not all rookies are going to be like that. Some rookies are going to be like your Bryce Youngs, who is going to really struggle. And so I think JJ McCarthy is going to be not like, I don't think he's going to struggle to the level of a Bryce Young did his rookie season, but I still think there are going to be some struggles there, and this is why I got the Vikings. Even though I got them finished last place at 8-9, I still think it's going to be looking up for the future. I think you're going to see a lot of promise for the future, especially out of JJ McCarthy. All right. Bears at 10-7. I like what they what they did, in the offseason. I really like them getting Luther Burton. I think in the second round, I really think he's going to be a huge steal for them. Like I think when it happened, we talked about the draft this past draft. I think I said he was going to be one of the biggest steals of the draft because I felt like he was a first round talent in my eyes. All right. Just in my eyes, once again, my personal opinion. So I really like that the Bears got him. They got the second best tight end in the draft.
Yeah.
Penn
it's a
State.
Michigan only podcast now playing. Tyler Warren is fired. Tyler Warren is fired too.
I know him and I'm telling you, man, him and Anthony Richardson are going to be a great tight end tandem. But anyway,
crazy tight end tandem.
Exactly. But anyway, but yeah, I do like the fact they also got Colson Loveland. It is going to, that offense with Ben Johnson as their head coach. We saw what he was able to do in Detroit and how he was able to work with Jared Goff. And so I like what the Bears are doing. Now, I'm not going to say they're going to jump up and win the division. I think they will fight for it. I think they will fight for that first place spot. But I got them at 10-7. I believe that's a good sweet spot for them. I got them at 10-7. All right. Like people were saying, they're going to get 12, 13 wins. I'm like, hold on. Or some people say, they're going to completely bottom out. Caleb Williams overrated. They're going to go like 4 wins. Like, nah. I think a 10-win season. I think that's a solid thing for them. With hope for the future that they're going to get even better. All right. So, the Lions, I got them at 11-6 because I think the loss of I still believe in their head coach, Dan Campbell. I like the fact that he did change the culture there. All right. So, I'm not going to say they're going to completely bottom out, but I think them losing, especially you lose your offensive and defensive coordinator. That offensive defense they're going to take it. I'm not going to say they're going to take a major step back, but I think we're going to see the effects of it. but I don't
They're
think.
still.
But I
Would you
still
think
think.
that? Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
But with, like I said, with Aiden Hutchinson coming back, I still think they're going to be good enough, especially because they had a lot of injuries. I think their safety got hurt. Branch, he got so they had a lot of
Yeah.
injuries too. So with all these guys coming back from injury, of course they lost their offensive defensive coordinators as I just mentioned. But I think with their head coach, I do believe in Dan Campbell. I still do believe that they're still going to fight for that division lead. However, I believe the loss of their coordinators is going to affect them. I believe early on, and this is why I got them at 11-6. I think early on the loss is going to affect them, but I think as we go throughout the season, I think the Lions are just going to get better, and I think it'll only be enough for them to get a wild card spot and be second place in that division.
Now,
Um,
where do you think that offense will rank though? Top 5 or top 10, or not? Or neither?
I like I like Jamison Williams. Like I think he was my number when he was coming out. He was my number one wide receiver in that draft. If y'all recall, I am a huge fan of Jamison Williams. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown. They got a two-headed monster at the running back position. They got a solid offensive line. They've got a great tight end in Sam Laporta. All right, and then Jared Goff is a top 10 quarterback. So with all of that offense is not. I still think they're going to take a step back without Ben Johnson, which is why once again I think they're going to struggle coming out the gate. But I think as we go on, they're going to start picking up steam. Like I said, there's going to be a struggle. So, in my opinion, the way I see it, their first I think after the first 8 games, they're going to probably be like 5-4. You see that's where I'm getting at. Like the first games, like they'll win games, but like you'll see, like, oh, hold up, they're 5-4. Like they were 15-2 last season, so people are going to probably start questioning them. But I think afterwards, that's when they'll start picking up. They might even go 12-5. Honestly, they might go 11-6. I might have shorted them 1 win short. They might be go 12-5 and be. But I think maybe the Packers win in a tiebreak. But still, just watch out. Just watch Lions this season. They're going to start out slow, but I think they're going to pick up the second half of the season. But the Packers, I got them as a 12-5 because they didn't really have any major losses as I've seen. They did have, once again, they had that huge addition with Matthew Golden. They finally drafted a first round wide receiver. I know Aaron Rodgers was like, why couldn't y'all do that 15 years ago? But or 10 years ago, whatever have you. But the Packers this century in the NFC North has been the most consistent team. If you just consider, I understand they've had years especially with Brett Favre that they had losing seasons, especially like that. I think it was that 2005 season that they went. But either way, over these last 25 years, over this whole century, the Packers have been the most consistent team in the NFC North, and we even saw that with Jordan. Then through Brett Favre, through Aaron Rodgers, and now through Jordan Love, you're seeing that they're just maintaining. And I think because of that consistency, me as a person who's doing predictions, I got to go with a team that I believe that's going to be that is the most consistent, and that is the Packers. I think they're going to be the most consistent team in that division, and so I got them at 12-5. Here's what I said. I don't believe that they're going to be the best team in the division at the end of the season. But I think throughout this whole year, they're going to be the most consistent. And because of that, I got them at 12-5, winning the division. But anything else, KJ, regarding the NFC North?
It'll be definitely a good division to watch. I don't think that they will be the best division in the NFL. That was a fluke year. Y'all don't expect that no more. But I I mean, they're going to be interesting, bro. Whoever you like or whoever you don't like. Personally, I'm looking at the Bears and the Vikings for personal reasons, but I can't wait to see how that thing plays out.
Uh, I think it's going to be a three-horse race. Well, mainly a two-horse race between the Packers and the Lions, with the Bears being that little dark horse. Let's go ahead and move over to the West Side, baby, and finish up the NFC with the NFC West. Last season, the NFC West was won by the Rams in a tiebreak over the Seahawks because both teams were 10-7, but the Rams got in the playoffs. The Rams are the only team in the playoffs because my Commanders got blown out by the Eagles and the Chiefs got mollywopped by them. Don't let the final score fool you. It was 34. It was 34-0. All right, but anyway. But yeah, the Rams were the only team, though, that were able to keep pace with the Eagles the whole game and actually had a chance to win. So this Rams team, I know they lost Cooper Kupp, but I think they were kind of like, hey man, I think they were kind of pushing him out the door already anyway. But But yeah, but you also have the Seahawks still there. They got themselves a new quarterback in Sam Darnold. The question is that going to be an improvement or not? The 49ers under Kyle Shanahan, they always have that inexplicable year where everybody gets hurt and shooting. So they just bottom out. But now I feel like this is the other side of the coin with Kyle Shanahan as their head coach, where they're powering back up, they're getting everybody back healthy. The Cardinals mid, but KJ, how do you see the NFC West shaking out this season?
Well, we can go ahead and start with the Niners. Yes, so this may be the year that they don't have an inexplicable injury laden year, right?
Right.
But that's only because half their team is gone. They lost half of their team. They lost Elijah Mitchell. They lost Deebo Samuel. They lost Leonard Floyd. They lost Javon Kinlaw. They just
two of those players to my Commanders.
Right.
Crazy.
They lost Hargrave, bro. They lost Greenlaw. Like they lost everybody. Hufanga.
Mm-hmm.
That one I like.
To the Broncos of all teams too.
To the Broncos of all teams.
That defense gets scary.
and Patrick Surtain that's been
with Jahdae Barron. But we're gonna talk about the AFC. We need to talk about
no-fly zone, bro.
We're gonna talk about the AFC West next podcast.
For sure. But yeah, half their team is gone and the other half is injured. So I think that they are retooling this year. Oh my God. Can I give you some breaking news? I understand that we are talking about the NFC West, but guess who just requested a trade from their team?
Who?
Take the wildest guess you could take.
I'm guessing it's Scary Terry because we haven't signed him.
Yes, it is.
Huh?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
That's wild. But anyway,
I was going to mention that there was going to be two choices. There was only going to be two choices. I was like, they're either going to. I said they had two choices. I was gonna mention, since we're on this now. I was gonna mention it later. I was gonna say that on this podcast, I was literally gonna say we either got two choices: we either re-sign him or we trade him. That's literally the only two choices that we as an organization have. We either re-sign him to a long-term extension that he wants or trade him. So this breaking news doesn't shock me at all because I was going to mention that. I was like, listen, y'all either re-sign him once again, re-sign him or trade him. That's your only two choices. At least if you trade him, we can get some pieces back. So, but yeah, continue talking about the NFC West.
Yeah, we can delve into that a little more. But to finish this, the Niners they're gonna be kind of middling to me because I don't really believe in Brock Purdy. They have less They lost a lot of their talent, and Christian McCaffrey is always hurt. So division winners, nah, I can't see it. Maybe if they came back at full strength with those same players, yeah. But nah, I'm there's a question mark for the Niners to me. Um, the Seahawks, they brought in Cooper Kupp, they brought in Sam Darnold. They have 2 6'2" cornerbacks and a 6'4" a 6'4" linebacker. So they got some height. They got some height back there, but they still lacking up there towards the pass rush. So they're gonna maybe that's how they're trying to remedy those ailments. I like the fact that they drafted Elijah Arroyo out of the tight end out of Miami. He's pretty good. I think he's gonna make an impact this season. Probably after like game 4, but you know. But then they brought in Sam Darnold, but they also drafted Jalen Milroe. Now nobody's really gung ho, I guess, for Jalen Milroe, maybe outside of Jalen Milroe in Alabama. I think he is very talented, but I like the fact that he went to the Seahawks because he's kind of a prospect to me. So now he can sit behind. Not saying Sam Darnold is going to teach him everything that he needs to know, but he can sit in an NFL offense for a year or 2 or 3 and develop, and then pop out and be like, "Hey y'all, I told you I was good."
Yeah.
But for them, they don't really strike fear in my eyes this season either. None of these teams strike fear into my heart. Not even the Rams. Like, yes, they drafted my boy Blake Corum. Woo, but Blake Corum is only gonna come in for like situational plays. He already has a lot of wear and tear from Michigan. I'm not gonna lie. They lean heavily towards Brandon Fisk and Jared Verse, their pass rushers on defense, and then they really very, very, very much lean in on Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford makes that entire team go. So they did upgrade at wide receiver versus Cooper Kupp versus Devontae Adams. That's going to help a lot. So they might very well be the best team in this division, just simply off of giving Matt Stafford a number 1 wide receiver. We've seen what that does. I don't care how old or how many gray hairs Matt Stafford got now. He's still a good quarterback.
Yep.
And Devontae Adams runs some of the best routes in the league still. So hey, I like it. I like it. But I'm very interested in the Cardinals though, because Kyler Murray is Kyler Murray, but MHJ jacked. I don't know if y'all seen him this offseason, but he is much bigger than he was last season and more experienced. And he's just a great. He's like Larry Fitzgerald 2.0 for them. Like, come on, man. I like the additions that they had drafting Walton Nolan and Will Johnson. Those are 2 pretty good pickups, though I was very shocked that Will Johnson fell to the 2nd round. But hey, it's cool. He got drafted. But I honestly, being a Michigan man, I do like them drafting Denzel Burke, the cornerback out of Ohio State, in the 5th round. I think seeing him every year, he's good. I haven't seen many bad plays from him. Like that is a solid cornerback. Okay. So the Cardinals are definitely going to be an interesting team to watch, but I feel as though it's the Rams division to lose. And I don't think the Niners are going to be the one to dethrone them either.
Well, this is the way I've got it all mapped out. All right. Once again, I'm going to do the same thing for the NFC North same thing for the NFC West that I did for the NFC North. All right. So at last place, Cardinals at 7-10. All right. I originally had it 6-11, but I was like, you know what? The Cardinals usually inexplicably win a game that they're not supposed to every single season, no matter what. So I'm gonna give them that extra win. So 7-10. All right. Seahawks, I got them at 9-8, and then I've got a tie with the 49ers and Rams at 11-6. All right. Now I know. I said I had the 49ers on top right now, but it could go either way. It can go Rams, 49ers. It does not matter. This is the reason why I have the well, the reason why I have the Cardinals at last place, yes, Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be improved this season. I don't know why a lot of people thought he's just a bust already, just because Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors both, got off, both went off this season, and then now everybody's like, oh, like rookies.
But if you look at the Cardinals team, like the Cardinals kind of had, okay, I understand the Cardinals were not as bad as the Giants, but one, Malik Neighbors was the only receiver there, the only offensive weapon that they had. So he was getting all of the targets, but Brian Thomas Jr. did his thing. He's deserving of that. You know what I'm saying? But the Cardinals have they have versatility on offense a little bit.
But
so yeah, they have Marvin Harrison Jr., but he's not getting all of the targets. They got like 3 other receivers. Trey McBride is over there. They got like 2 other receivers. John Connor can catch passes out the backfield. He's a very good running back. So yeah, man, y'all need to get off my boy. Get off my boy. I know he's from Ohio State, but hey, I am not that much of a hater. That is a good wide receiver. No, please, the Ravens trade for him.
But the problem comes into Kyler Murray. I think at this point we know he's a mid quarterback. All right, and not saying he's garbage, but he's just a mid quarterback, a quarterback that's gonna probably give you around 8 wins. I understand. A few years ago, they got 11 wins and all that, but he's going to pretty much average out to 8-9 wins every single season. All right. So he's a mid quarterback, even though I understand wins is technically not a quarterback stat, but I'm just saying with Kyler Murray as your starting quarterback, you feel as though you're only going to be about an 8-9 win team. All right. At really best. And because of that, it begs the question now, should we trade him? Should we get rid of him? Is it over? I can't answer that question right now, but what I can say is this. I just think the Cardinals, that's the reason why I have the Cardinals at 7-10. I understand I think they're going to be a solid team. It's just that quarterback position. All right. This is why the quarterback position is the most important position in sports. I agree with that sentiment. I just don't think it's always the end all be all. I believe if you have a good team around the quarterback, a good enough team around the quarterback, you can still be a worthwhile team. But either way, but yeah, Kyler Murray, and just honestly, the Cardinals just always feels like that mid team. I don't know. All I know is this might be Kyler Murray's last year as the starting quarterback for the Cardinals. If they do not, honestly, if they don't make the playoffs, you really got to start thinking, hey, I think it's time for us to get rid of Kyler Murray. But then they signed him to a 5-year, $250 million extension, 2 seasons ago. So honestly, they're stuck with him for about a couple of years. But really? If y'all don't make the playoffs, y'all really need to start hey, y'all need to start finding trade partners for Kyler Murray. I'm talking ASAP. Seahawks 9-8. I think I said this on the podcast when we talked about the offseason and their move and the Seahawks moves, and I talked about how they got Cooper Kupp, they got Sam Darnold and all that. It just feels like they made lateral moves. I don't feel like they got any worse, but I don't feel like they got any better. Now I understand I have them 9-8 instead of 10-7 like they did last season, but I feel like they're the same team that they were last year. If you understand what I'm saying, KJ, I don't feel like they're any different. And because of that, if you in professional sports period, especially in professional team sports period, I'm talking about NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL. I'm talking about those 4 major sports here in America. If you make lateral moves, that next season, unless you were already a stacked elite team. That's different, all right? But if you just make lateral moves and you were just a mid-tier team the season before, you're going to be a mid-tier team the next year. And that's why I got them at 9-8. Now, the Rams and 49ers, I understand the 49ers lost everything. I understand. Well, yeah, like you said, KJ, their whole team, you know. But there's something about that Kyle Shanahan year after everybody was injured. The 49ers, without no explanation, because we have seen it every single time, the year after, I'm talking about under Kyle Shanahan, the 49ers under Kyle Shanahan, after that year, after that injury-riddled year, they end up winning the division inexplicably, or having a really good year. And I think winning the division inexplicably. But I got to look back. But from my memory, pulling straight from my memory here, it's always been like that. So in my mind is like, why can't it happen again? It just happens no matter what. So that's why I got the 49ers right now. I got them in front of the Rams, but it's like it's a tie. So whichever team has the tiebreak. And with the Rams, like you said, KJ, getting Devontae Adams, making those moves. And once again, this was the Rams team, the only team that was really close with the Eagles, that had a chance to actually beat that stacked team. And like I said, they added some more pieces, especially when they still got Matt Stafford there for, who knows, maybe another year or two. This team, it's going to be a race. I think it's still going to be a 3-team race, with the dark horse being the Seahawks. And then the Cardinals being, them. But yeah, I think 49ers may win it off the tie break, but this division is going to be, I think and I like the fact that we talked about the NFC West and the NFC North, because I really think this team, when it comes to the division races, I'm not talking about for the teams, I'm talking about, when we're talking about the division races, I think it's very similar, where you've got two teams that you definitely know that are gonna be, fighting for a position, and then you got a dark horse candidate, and then you got a team that that's not gonna win it. But yeah, anything else, KJ, that you want to have to mention about the NFC West?
I kind of hope the Cardinals win it.
Honestly, at this point, they need to win it. I'm saying, like I just said, if they don't make the playoffs, they have to at least do that. I think it's time for you. I think it's time for you to start looking for trade partners for Kyler Murray. Point blank, period. And starting the whole rebuild. Starting the whole rebuild process, or at least start the whole franchise quarterback process all over again. But since you mentioned up when we were talking about our division by division, by the way, we're going to talk about the NFC West next podcast. Since you already brought it up when we were talking about our division by division breakdowns or previews, let's just say that. Scary Terry asking for a trade. All right, now you call it breaking news, you call it surprising news, as it's not. I see a lot of Commanders fans upset about it, all that, blah blah blah. I'm not. As I said before, as I just said not too long ago. It got to a point. I was at the point these last couple weeks. So like, okay, we haven't got a deal done. At this point, it's either sign him to the deal that he wants, or trade him. I knew that I had come to that conclusion about a few weeks ago. I was just waiting for something to happen when it comes to a trade. Honestly, I was either waiting for the Commanders to start exploring trade offers, or I was waiting for Scary Terry to request a trade. I was waiting for one of those shoes to drop. So him requesting a trade does not surprise me at all. Now, what's going to make me mad is if we lost him for nothing. You see, that's what was going to make me mad. because I thought at the very least, we could do, if we are not going to sign him, we at least could explore trade offers for him. That's because I knew the moment that, because the thing is, what Scary Terry wanted, he wanted to be paid like the top 3 wide receivers like in the league. Like he wanted that Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson money, like the contracts that they signed, right? But here's the problem. Here's the cutthroat business of the NFL. All right. And we're talking about billionaires, people. We're talking about billionaires. Billionaires are the most greediest people on this planet. I'm going to say it again because people think that, homeless people are the most greedy. No. Billionaires are the most greediest people. I don't care who they are. Billionaires are the most greediest people on this planet. And they own every single sports franchise. So, you're a billionaire. Especially in football. They are especially greedy. Once again, you're an owner of a football team. You're a greedy billionaire owner of a football team. You know, when it comes to skill positions like wide receiver, running back especially, but especially the skill positions, wide receiver, running back, that when the age gets around 30, that's when the decline starts happening a little bit, right? JJ and Jamar Chase got their big long-term contracts, but you understand that they were 23, 24 at the time. So their billionaire owners was like, yeah, we can give you a huge long-term deal. Because by the time that deal's over, guess what? You're going to be 30-something years old. You're going to be like 31 or 30 years old. Scary Terry, even though as a Commanders fan, I do want him there. I do want him to be there long term. I want him to be a Commander for life. But this is the reality of the business of the NFL. They're like, you're 30. If we sign you to this big, huge, long-term deal, it's going to take you to about 35, 36. 34, 35, 36. Who's to say by the time you get 2 years into that contract, you really start tailing off. We're not going to take that risk. We are not going to take that risk. So, you take this shorter deal that's worth less money. So then that way it saves us. Or they probably have some language in that contract that Scary Terry does not like. They probably have what they probably have is less guarantees, and just in case Scary Terry falls off within the age like 32, 33, they can avoid his contract and not feel any financial penalty. Remember, we're talking about billionaires, people, most greediest people on this planet. So that is why now Scary Terry says, okay, you're not going to pay me what I want. You're not going to give me the contract that I want. I'm going to go ahead and request a trade. I'm going to now try to force you, because every NFL player, the reason why NFL players want force a trade is really because of money. All right, it's all because of money. And I do agree with Scary Terry 100%. I agree with him requesting this trade. I agree with him wanting the long-term contract that he frankly deserves. And I know a lot of Commanders fans say, how are you going to agree with that? How are you going to agree with that? Because at the end of the day, I'm always going to side with the players, because they're working under, once again, the greediest people on this planet, which is these multi-billionaires. I'm talking about these guys with tens and hundreds of billions of dollars. So yeah,
I'll give you Bateman and Likely for him. Bateman, Likely, and a third-round pick.
Hey, at this point, we'll take that. But we'll take Zay
So
Flowers.
y'all might be looking for a one. No, you're not taking Zay. You're not. You're not even gonna snitch. You don't even know Zay Flowers' name. Forget he exists.
I mean, you'll have a better receiver in Scary Terry than Zay Flowers.
He's also like 10 years older than him.
Dang, man, I'm trying to get a younger receiver. All right, come on.
I ain't slow.
What?
I said, I know, I ain't slow. I was born tonight, but not last night.
But yeah, that's this is the whole series. That's I'm not upset at Scary Terry. I know that there's gonna be a lot of Commanders fans. If anybody we should be upset at, it is our owner. It is Josh Harris and that bunch. But once again, we're talking about multi-billionaires, and because I think the thing is a lot of our Commanders fans are shocked at this because we thought that everything is turning a corner. We're gonna we got to the NFC Championship game. We no longer have Dan Snyder and all that blah 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 blah. I understand that. Our ownership so far is vastly better than Dan Snyder. I would give you that. However, these guys are still owners. They're still billionaires, and I'm glad that this happened because now a lot of us Commanders fans are now realizing, oh yeah, I forgot these owners at the end of the day care about their billions of dollars first and foremost, and that's every single owner. Every single owner.
I think y'all are. I mean, I definitely don't think y'all should give Scary Terry up. I don't think y'all should trade him. No, y'all should pay him. But if y'all did trade him, I mean, y'all quarterback is only in his second year. So if you trade him for a first and get him a younger receiver, now you have a tandem for the next 10 years. So I see the vision. I'm shaky, but I see the vision. Or trade him for a receiver. Like
that's also because there's a thought process in my mind of the Commanders like going to the 49ers and be like, hey, y'all want to do this one more time? We'll give you Scary Terry, you give us Brandon Ayuk, and we just swap. And that's also like that was also thinking in my head, like, are they going to try to one for one trade? And because I've been thinking about this for the last couple weeks. Because the moment that we didn't resign Scary Terry to the deal that he wanted a few weeks ago, I was like, okay. I was thinking. I was like, okay, at this point, we're gonna either sign him to a big contract or we're gonna trade him. And then when I started thinking about trading him, I'm like, are we actually really thinking about trading him? And then I thought about 49ers. Brandon Ayuk is there. It's always been rumored that Brandon Ayuk, like we were going to trade for Brandon Ayuk. And remember, Adam Peters coming from the 49ers. I'm just saying, I'm placing all these pieces, and that's what made me think maybe we actually are trying to trade Scary Terry. That's why we won't sign him to a long-term deal, because we're going to trade him for a Brandon Ayuk. Does that make sense to you? Like, do you get it? Like, I'm thinking, like, that's what I was thinking about.
I wouldn't do it. Maybe. How old is Brandon Ayuk?
Should we go ahead and see? Because I know I know he's in college with Jaden Daniels, so he can't be that much older than Jaden.
That man old. Watch, I'm about to find out right now.
Oh no, I'm looking up. I'm looking him up right now. He's 27.
I'm too slow. That's what I was going to say, like 28, 27. Okay.
Yeah, 28. So he's 27 years old. So he's a few years younger than Scary Terry. Because Scary, he's about to turn 30, like, in a month or week. I forgot when his birthday was. But he's literally. Man,
but bro, if it worked, don't break it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, I'm like. We finally got him the number one QB that he's been looking for his entire career as part of our franchise, and now we're like, hey, I'm sorry,
Terry.
No, he's
like, you gotta go.
Yeah, We're good now. We good. And this is why. And KJ, you also wonder why I said that. I think my Commanders are going to take a step back this year. Like people, you thought I was just undermining my own team. Like no, I knew this was happening. All this stuff, like all this was happening. My brain, because my thought process was, what if we don't get a deal together with Terry? That's going to affect Jaden Daniels even more. Like I was thinking, like I said, I'm always thinking. I'm always looking at what's happening to my team. Because I knew these contract negotiations were like really like being like we're getting rough. Like before really it was like majorly reported. Because like us Commanders fans, because I follow different Commanders fans and all that stuff, and like Washington Today and all that. Like so I get all these news beforehand. So I was like, okay, everything is going left. And then, yeah, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I just hope we just don't lose Scary Terry for nothing. All right. Now, because of this, are we going to get the best deal for Scary Terry? No, we are not. We are not going to get the best deal for the Scary Terry. And I'm fully aware of that. Because, the owner, we don't have as much leverage as maybe the ownership thinks we do, but it's okay. It's all right, but it is what it is. I just hope we get the best deal we possibly can for Scary Terry at this juncture, because I think we are going to trade him. Now, is there still a chance we give him this big time long-term contract? Maybe. But, only time will tell. But in other football news, well, not really football news, it's more like sports news. Shannon Sharpe has been fired by ESPN. Fired by ESPN. This is not really a huge shock, especially because of the allegations. But KJ, how do you feel about Shannon Sharpe being fired from ESPN?
I really ain't gonna speak on Buddy personal life, but to see him go from what was the show he had with Skip? To see him go from Skip to Shannon, to see him go from Skip to Stephen A. I mean, he still has his own platform. People still watch it and everything. I think he's good with Ocho Cinco. A little podcast that they have is entertaining. But yeah, I mean, that's really all I got to say. Like, I mean, what you kind of want? What do you want Disney to do? Or ESPN to do? You know what I'm saying? They are very big on keeping a brand spotless. So hey, this ain't the first time they done took somebody off the show. Y'all remember them few firing sessions they had? That wasn't for nothing scandalous, but they're accustomed to letting people go for more minuscule things. So something like that. I mean, I guess I see it too.
Yeah, the moment that these allegations came out, you kind of felt like that's what was going to head, because, like you said, ESPN is owned by Disney. Disney prides themselves on being, we're a family company, even though, yeah. So the moment that kind of happened, all these allegations coming out and all that, the writing was on the wall. Especially when he took his leave of absence from First Take. Now I know Shannon Sharpe was. He wasn't upset about being fired. He was just upset about that happening on the day that his brother is going into the Hall of Fame. So now, instead of it being about, his family and everybody, him getting into the Hall of Fame and that being a celebratory moment, it's now about, hey, Shannon Sharpe got fired. That, I kind of agree with Shannon Sharpe on that. Like, y'all could wait till Monday. Y'all could have let the Sharp family just have that moment for Sterling Sharp finally getting into the Hall of Fame and all that. Like, y'all had to do
Yeah,
it.
but I mean, I guess at that point it was, it's not. It wasn't really about them or their family. Well, it was about Shannon, but it's not really. It wasn't really about their family. It was about a different family, but not the Sharps.
I know, but I'm just saying. But yeah, like you said, I'm not going to speak on Shannon Sharp's personal life. That's a whole different matter, and a whole different type of podcast for that matter. But yeah, I just wish that. Come on, ESPN, y'all could have just fired that man on a Monday. But Shannon Sharp still got his Club Shay Shay podcast. He still got that nightcap with him and Ocho. So I mean, he's still doing his thing. He still ain't, worse for, he still ain't worse off. I mean, honestly, after he left Fox, he really didn't need to go to ESPN. I think ESPN needed Shannon Sharp more than Shannon Sharp really needed them. Because, Stephen A. Smith with First Take, it just wasn't like none of it was doing it for anybody. But
I mean, I was only watching First Take for Shannon. I only watched the show. I don't even remember the name, but I only watched the show he had with Skip for Shannon. Skip still
undisputed.
had a show. I wasn't. Yeah, undisputed. I wasn't. Skip had a show after that. It was called something
No, it
completely
was still
different.
undisputed. It was still
Oh, it's still.
undisputed.
Hey, I
It,
wasn't
it, was, it
watching.
was just a revolving door of like like
For
they had
people,
Richard
yeah.
Sherman, they had Keyshawn Johnson, they had it just didn't.
I'm not here for him.
But yeah, but also something else that's been perusing around the football world, the football debate world these last few weeks is who's better. Right? Who's better? It's because it's always a debate. Who's better? Who's better? Who's better? Because we always want to compare, especially when it comes to the quarterback position. We want to compare who's better, Tom Brady or Peyton Manning. Especially back in 2005, that was a heated debate, baby. But now the debate is who's better, Jalen Hurts or Super Cam Newton. KJ, you being the resident Panthers fan, you being a huge Cam Newton fan and supporter. Give your
alumni,
exactly, and yes,
resident number 2 wearer.
exactly, exactly. So, in your unbiased opinion, who do you think is better?
Cameron Jarrell Newton. Like, dude, I think with with recency bias, people just focus on what's going on now, and they take that and they just like, oh, well, what's going on now has to be better than what was going on back then. I see some of them sentiments, but y'all clearly have lost y'all vision for Cam Newton. Like, do y'all understand how great this man was? I'm just gonna start off by comparing their teams. Like, I personally feel as though Jalen Hurts has had way better teams than Cam Newton has. Cam Newton has had a Christian McCaffrey. He has had a Steve Smith.
He's had Steven Smith for 1 year, I think.
Yeah, for a year. You know what I'm saying? And that year, if we talking about, okay, let's talk about that 1 year, that first year of Cam. It was like 2 years, and then he went to the Ravens. Thank God, but that was kind of bittersweet. And they beat us. And the Ravens beat us that year. I think Steve Smith had like 200 yards, bro. Oh man, that game was so. I had to watch it though, but it was so painful to watch.
It was pain. Dude, because like both of those are your teams, so it was like it was weird.
But it was my favorite. It was my favorite player at the time, going against my favorite team at the time. I mean, the Panthers is still my favorite team, but you know what I'm saying? Like, my favorite player is coming back to beat my ass. That don't feel good. But yeah, I mean, just looking at their first seasons, I mean, though they were playing completely different, Cam Newton or Jalen Hurts only had like 1,000 yards passing. Cam Newton not only had 4,000 yards passing, but he also set. Bro, do you all know how many rookie records that man set? Like, first rookie record for 4,000 pass yards in the season. He broke the touchdown record in the season. The yards record in the season. He was the only He was the only quarterback to go for 4,700, or the first, not the only, but the first rookie quarterback to do that. Um, Cam Newton, honestly, bro, Cam Newton not only has, okay, Jalen Hurts has been to a Super Bowl and won a Super Bowl, so he does have that over Cam. He's been there twice. Cam only been there once and lost, right?
Yeah.
They both have MVPs.
No, 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 no. Now
Oh no,
Jalen
no,
Hurts
no,
has
no.
a
Cam
Super
Newton
Bowl
has an MVP.
MVP. Jalen Hurts has a
Yeah,
Super
yeah, yeah.
Bowl.
You're right. You're right. He has a Super Bowl MVP, which I honestly was given to him because he's the quarterback of that team, and they won because that defense whooped Patrick Mahomes' ass. But Cam Newton is, I understand Steve McNair won an MVP, was the first black quarterback to win an MVP, but he had to share it with Peyton Manning. Cam Newton is the first black quarterback to outright win an MVP.
Are you sure?
And he did that with Ted Ginn Jr., bro. He did that with Ted Ginn Jr. as his number one wide receiver. Ted Ginn Jr. had the most drops in the NFL that year. We had the number two offense. No, we had the number one offense and the number two defense. The Broncos had those things in reverse. So the number two offense and the number one defense. I don't think Jalen Hurts has always had talent around him. I don't think he can take a team to a Super Bowl. When I don't think he can win an MVP with with a Nelson Aguilar as his number one receiver and go to the Super Bowl.
Sorry,
Jalen Hurts is a great quarterback, but not only is Cam Newton bigger and faster, but people just think Cam Newton of like his size and his arm talent. Like Cam Newton Cam Newton diagnoses defenses as well while talking smack to the defenses on the goal line. And no, he's not running it in. Yo, like I think people are very much sleeping on Cam Newton and forgetting about what he did. Probably because the last I'm not going to count the last season he had when he came back. Last two seasons he had back, because one of them was with the Cardinals. Then he went back to the Panthers. Went back to the he went to the Patriots.
Yeah, Patriots.
But pre shoulder injury Cam Newton, bro, you wouldn't stop. There was nobody in the league stopping him.
Well. Who's better, Jalen or Cam? MC Ron will answer this question. But before I answer this question, I will say this. All right, I will say this when it comes to Cam Newton. I have seen so many people say that Cam Newton had only one good year. I see that narrative over and over and over and over.
Can I cut you for a hot second? Because that just resonated with me.
That's
in the worst way.
I'm going to
How can
explain.
he only have one good season if he won Rookie of the Year also? So he's had at least two. His first two games, bro, he threw 400 yards. Y'all talk about that man couldn't throw. He was Lamar Jackson before Lamar Jackson. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you go.
Yes, and so I've heard that. I've heard that narrative. And to your point, KJ, he won Rookie of the Year and he was MVP, so he at least had two good seasons. But okay, if you want to say he had one season where he was like the unequivocal, like basically like best player in the league, MVP level player. I even think that's wrong because his 2018 year before his shoulder got completely destroyed after that. Because people forget that 2018 season, there were a lot of people, including myself, including a lot of other, like there were a lot of sports reporters, media members saying that, hold up, Cam Newton in 2018. People forget in those first 8 games before that game against the Steelers, and then once again shoulder knocked out of place, game over, his career over, blah blah blah. But anyway, before all of that, they were halfway through the season. People were saying, hold up, Cam Newton is looking even better than his 2015 MVP year. And people were saying, hold up, Cam Newton can win the MVP this year.
Good.
Y'all completely just completely just forgot about that? Of course you did. Of course you did, because recency bias, because of the way, and this in Cam, the way a lot of people feel about Cam Newton, how they say he only has one good season, is specifically why it's specifically why recency bias. It's specifically why this social media age of sports media, it's a problem, because people just see one thing. It's here today. It's gone tomorrow. It's like, so it's out of your mind. So if it's not in front of your face like 24/7 every single day, then it makes like you're instantly forgot. You instantly forget. But we can mention about, I would say Cam Newton had about 4.5 good seasons. All right, and that's including his MVP year. All right, that's what I would say. All right, so those are the only people who says, and now he's also had some of the years where he's probably fell short, but he's made the playoffs multiple times in his career, multiple times. He is still the best quarterback in the history. And I understand that's not saying a whole lot, but he solidified the quarterback position for the Carolina Panthers for basically a decade. It wasn't exactly a decade, but
he kind of almost popularized mobile quarterbacks, black mobile quarterbacks at that. Because before Cam Newton, how many black quarterbacks did we have in the league? Cam Newton come in, now half the league, one black quarterback.
Exactly. So I just want people to stop the disrespect of Cam Newton, all right, and his career and his accomplishments, all right. I'm not so certain that he's going to be a Hall of Famer. At this point, I'm going to say no. All right, I'm to be perfectly honest. However, I do believe his career is a lot better than people give it credit for, and that's a major problem.
Over Cam Newton
now. Jalen Hurts,
number one overall pick. You taking Jalen Hurts over Cam Newton?
Now, let me finish.
Okay, I'll let you cook.
Jalen Hurts. He has done one thing that Cam Newton has, which is won a Super Bowl. He's won a Super Bowl for the Eagles, and in both Super Bowls, he's played at an extremely high level. I do believe he deserves that Super Bowl MVP. Cam Newton did not play in his one. Now I understand it was against an all-time great defense, and you know what I always say. Now I've said it on the podcast, and I've kept it consistent every single time. Anytime you have an all-time great defense, we talk about the 2015 Broncos defense, like we talk about the 2013 Legion of Boom, the same team that destroyed Peyton Manning and whooped his ass towards a Super Bowl victory. Anytime you have an all-time great defense, that all-time great defense will always win, especially in the Super Bowl. I have yet in my personal lifetime experienced an all-time great defense get to a Super Bowl and then lose. Like I said 2015 with the Broncos, 2013 with the Seahawks. I can go back to the 2000 with the Ravens. I can go 2002 with the Buccaneers. These are all-time great defenses.
And we had Mike Reimers was our best offensive lineman. Do y'all even know who Mike Reimers is? I bet you don't.
and people are also talking about, well, Cam Newton played with all these All-Pros in 2015. I'm like, first of all, when the majority of these All-Pros and Pro Bowlers were on the defensive side.
Facts.
Defensive side.
Most of them, actually. I don't think we had Greg Olsen.
And like, and to your point, KJ, who was Cam Newton's best wide receiver throughout his entire career?
It sure wasn't Kelvin Benjamin.
Yeah, in Carolina.
I would say
maybe a year of Steve Smith, but once again, that was early on his career.
I'm trying to like think of a player not named Steve Smith.
So after
Christian McCaffrey,
yeah, because I don't really count Steve Smith because once again he was only there for a cup of coffee. He's only there in Cam Newton's career for a cup of coffee because Steve Smith thought he was going to be there with Cam his whole entire career. But he wasn't. And you saw the moment that Steve Smith left, that Cam Newton's passing numbers suffered. Because after that, the Panthers didn't have any great wide receivers after that.
Do you know who? Oh, okay. Outside of Steve Smith, there are two players that I would say would be Cam Newton's best wide receiver.
Who?
In Carolina?
Yeah.
My Michigan man, Devin Funchess, who was a position convert from tight end.
Yes.
And Brandon LaFell.
Yeah, so exactly.
I don't even know who Brandon LaFell is. He played for the Patriots for like a year, and then I heard nothing from him.
And throughout, basically through these last few years of Jalen Hurts' career, especially now he's entering his prime, he's had Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Not to mention this past year he's had Saquon Barkley, but I'm just talking about the wide receiver position. He's had two. He has one really good number one, and then a very solid number two. Once again, all Cam Newton really had was only a couple years of Steve Smith. He had a cup of coffee of Steve Smith. Then after, once again, a year or two, he was gone.
And Steve Smith towards the tail end of his career at that. This ain't Super Bowl Steve Smith.
And you saw once again after Steve Smith left, and we know that the Eagles are going to keep their two wide receivers with Jalen Hurts for longer than that. But this isn't to disrespect Jalen Hurts, because I do hate the Jalen Hurts disrespect. I understand, because I believe Jalen Hurts is still a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. And for a point for Jalen Hurts, to be perfectly honest, I have never said that about Cam Newton.
Top 5 kid? What?
I've never said that about Cam Newton. I never believed it. And so it's because of that, I'm going to have to take Jalen Hurts over Cam. But the only reason why I said all of this about Cam Newton, you made people think that I was going to choose Cam Newton over Jalen Hurts, is because I don't like to disrespect. You can say somebody is better without completely disrespecting them in their career and their accomplishments. I 100% believe that. So, even though I do believe Jalen Hurts is better, because I've seen Jalen Hurts on the biggest stages both times play better than Cam Newton, actually step up in those moments, and because of that, and also, I think Jalen Hurts is underrated as a passer, to be perfectly honest. And because of that, give me Jalen Hurts over Cam Newton. But it's not that I'm saying that Cam Newton's garbage and that Jalen Hurts is a vastly superior quarterback than Cam Newton. No. Because I do believe, and I hate doing the whole, hey, if you put Cam Newton on this team, you're gonna like. I don't like doing that. Right. But I do believe if the Panthers were better at putting more weapons around Cam Newton, especially at the wide receiver position, that his numbers would have been better, and that he might have. Honestly, I think he probably would have had a Super Bowl. And also, I also think that if the league protected Cam Newton better, that he would have had a longer career and a better remembered career than people give it credit for right here, right now. Because two things went against Cam Newton. One, they did not, when Cam Newton was in his prime, they did not protect a quarterback of his ilk. Like we see with Josh Allen, that they don't really protect him as well as they protected Patrick Mahomes. So I think if the league also did, because I also mentioned this as well, that if the league did a bit of, I think I mentioned it when we first started this podcast, that if the league also did a better job of protecting Cam Newton, and especially from like, remember he kept on getting like hit to the helmets, like he kept on getting like hit well after he threw well after the ball was being thrown. No flag.
No flag. No flag, bro.
So
that's the reason. So that's the reason why he got hurt in the first. Well, that's not even the reason why he got hurt in the first place, because on that hit that really knocked his shoulder out of whack from ironically JJ Watt, not JJ Watt, TJ Watt.
Yeah.
Hate the Steelers, man. What had to hurt him even in the first place is getting in a bad car accident that same off season. So if he didn't get into that car accident, he could have took that hit from TJ. We probably would have went to the Super Bowl, man.
Like I said, in 2018, Cam Newton was having a year even better than his MVP season. People were like talking about how well of a passer he was. He elevated. Like, once again, people don't remember that, but it's okay. It is okay. This is why this podcast exists. But I have to judge it off of what I saw. And for me, and what, and from my perspective, give me Jalen Hurts over Cam Newton. However, I do believe that we would have seen a better Cam Newton. I do believe we would have seen a lot better Cam Newton is if the Panthers built around him at the wide receiver better and the league protected him better. That's my final take on that. But respect to both guys, though. Huge respect to both guys, because love to see the black quarterback succeed, baby, at the end of the day. But let's go ahead and wrap this podcast up like we always do with our last second shout outs. So, KJ, who in the sports world do you have to shout out?
I'm going to go ahead and shout out Rasheed Wallace. Good old Sheed from my Detroit Pistons. He's about to be inducted into the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame. Shout out to Sheed.
Well, my shout out goes to a guy that's getting a huge contract extension. Not Scary Terry, but Mikal Bridges getting a 4-year, $150 million extension from the Knicks. He's getting paid, baby. He's getting paid. All right. Sorry, Scary Terry. Everybody getting paid but you. Though the NFL, it's an owners run business instead of the NBA, which is a players run business. But it's okay. It's okay. But shout out to you, Mikal Bridges. Getting that money. But that's all the time we have, folks. You've now tuned in to the world's greatest MC Ron and his co-host,
your guy, Zen on Ken.
And we are keeping it 10 toes down, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to be on the podcast and talk your sports stuff with the best in the business, that is me and my co-host KJ. All you have to do is one of two things. Either send an email to keepingit10toesdown@gmail.com. That is keepingit10toesdown@gmail.com. Or send us a direct message on Instagram. That is at keepingit10toes. That is at keepingit10toes. Ladies and gentlemen, we are 17 minutes away from the Hall of Fame game being started, because I think the Hall of Fame game starts at 8 o'clock. All right? That's what I think. All right? I'm really just, I'm assuming. Okay? I'm assuming. If it already started, it's all right. But anyway, we are just 17 small minutes, maybe more, who knows. But we are just moments away from the 2025 NFL season beginning till football season finally is here. Yes, as a teacher, this moment is bittersweet because I know, oh my God, the school year is about to start. But then when I think about, when I also think about, oh, football season is about to be here, I just get that energy in my veins because I've been missing this, baby. Whew. So, you all have a great day, a great night. And enjoy some Hall of Fame game preseason NFL football. Woo! Love it.
The sun is under my feet and I come in peace to compete. I don't run if you athlete. My statistics go up in weeks and I go visit the nearest creek and I get busy. Yo, mini MC really ballistic. Anybody can see any assistance. Everybody to see some persistence. Recognize I be really too vicious. The permanent beast and the demolition. Bringing up the street. Better partition. Better dot your T. Hannibal mention. How the all you see. Putting my dick in the rep industry.